Jazz have been getting rest goals as of late, having not played since last Wednesday after awaiting their next opponent. Clips got next as the Clippers-Jazz semifinals tipped off tonight. Stephen A., who has more to prove in this series, Paul George or Donovan Mitchell?
I believe it's Donovan Mitchell, believe it or not. Now, I'm on record saying he's a superstar. He is something special to behold. But because you're going against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and they're coming, this is your opportunity to cement your arrival on this big scene. You know, we already know you're a youngster who's a star and a stud. I call you D-Wade 2.0 because I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I believe that's exactly what the hell he is. We have seen the Utah Jazz struggle in the postseason. This is not his first time past the first round, but this is the first time he's been in this position where it's these kind of expectations. The Utah Jazz, with Donovan Mitchell looking the way that he's looking, are the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. And Kawhi and Paul George are standing in your way. What he does in this series, if Donovan Mitchell shows up the way he showed up last year against Denver in the first round, the way he showed up in this year's first round against Ja Morant and Memphis, if that Donovan Mitchell continues to look that way against Kawhi and Paul George, it's really official. I mean, to me, it's official already, but it's really official as to the superstar this brother is. He's the one with more to prove for me.
To me, it's Paul George. Paul George is the one with more to prove. I already know Donovan Mitchell can be the leading scorer on a playoff powerhouse, even though they didn't advance for it, but you could see it, Donovan Mitchell, and he's on a powerhouse. Can Paul George be a second banana who's good enough? A Robin who is good enough so that you can win a title, at least get out of the West. Can he do it? Can he do it consistently? Kawhi is a two-time finals MVP, and he's doing his thing in these playoffs, as always. If Paul George can match it, be 1B to his 1A or 1A to his 1, whatever. Who's to say Utah gets out of the West? In fact, with two dudes like this, they have everything you want on a team to win a chip. They should get to the finals. The Clippers should get to the finals if Paul George can do it. He hasn't done it in the past. Playoff P, right? Like, this is the issue. He's got to do it. I think he has more to prove.
Okay, we'll keep it going. Okay. We have been blessed with some excellent basketball this postseason with stars from the East and both the West showing out, guys. Stephen A., most valuable player in the playoffs thus far?
Nikola Jokic. I don't think anybody can deny that. We've seen great performances all over the place. I have a vote. He's my MVP. And the same Nikola Jokic that I've seen in the regular season, who, by the way, never missed a game this year, is the same Jokic I've seen in the postseason. I'm watching this guy. He just looks like a big tub of lard. Can't jump onto a damn curb. And you can't stop him. His footwork, his movement, his passing ability, his basketball IQ, his ability to shoot the ball, his strength. Mm-hmm. This dude is something special. He truly, truly is. What a talent at the big guy. I mean, we used to talk about Arvydas Sabonis like this, okay?
What he might, if we only could have seen him in his prime, right?
We used to talk about that.
Yeah.
Now, again, the man can't jump onto a curb, okay? Can't jump onto a curb. It don't matter. Everybody that goes against him looks small. DeAndre Ayton, 7 feet tall. He looks small, looks miniature next to Jokic, okay? The only person that I saw really ever give him problems was Anthony Davis last year in the postseason. Jokic is the real deal. He is a model of consistency. He's consistent. He's reliable. He's trustworthy.
He runs the offense.
He runs the offense, and he's big time. He can close. He's not scared of the moment, and he makes people better around him. He, to me, is the MVP this season, both the regular season and thus far the playoffs.
It's a good pick. I respect it. I say this respectfully because Kawhi Leonard only played in 52 games this year and averaged 34 minutes a game and gave you 25, 7, and 5. Typical Kawhi in the regular season. By the way, 40, 50, 89. Right? Okay. You know what he did in the playoffs, though? Because here comes playoff Kawhi Leonard. He joins Kareem, I mentioned this yesterday, Bernard King, and Shaq as the only 60, 40, 90 guys in playoff history with 200 points in a playoff. Look at this. Look at Games 6 and 7 versus the Mavericks, Stephen A., when their backs were to the wall. What this dude did. 45 on 18 of 25, and then 28 on 10 of 15 with 10 boards and 9 assists. You know what he's doing for the playoffs? I said 60, 40, 90. He's giving you 32, 8, and 5. But guys, the big thing is he did miss that corner three. He airballed it, right? And it looked like the season was over. The fact that he came back from that to be the best player on the court, on a court with Luka Doncic, in games 6 and 7, Kawhi is my MVP of the first round. MVP of the playoffs so far.
Okay, we'll keep it going. While we're talking MVP, we would be remiss not to touch on some of the top-performing teams this postseason who might have been slept on. Max, which team is the most overlooked in the playoffs thus far?
The Nuggets. And they're hurt. Like, they have a lot of depth in their backcourt, but it's being tested now. And if they had Jamal Murray, I'd take them to get out of the West. They don't. Even so, because they don't have Jamal Murray, we've been trying to write them off for so long. They didn't miss a beat without Jamal Murray. And even if I think they're challenged in these playoffs, let's not get carried away by what the Suns just did. You mentioned it, Molly and Stephen A. At home with a true sixth man, the fans. Denver got mile high. They got a real home court, too. And the bottom line is, and hats off to Ayton. He played great against Jokic last night. Jokic remains the best player in the series. He was the best player in last series with Damian Lillard. His team advanced. He is the best player in this series with Devin Booker and Chris Paul and Ayton. And his team has a real chance to advance. I think we are sleeping hardest on the Nuggets.
For me, it's the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks were losing big games, weren't even going to make the playoffs, got rid of their coach, brought in Nate McMillan, who was just fired from the Indiana Pacers job, okay, and go on a tear, finish as a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. They get to the playoffs. Yeah, you beat my Knicks because you were the better team with better players, period. No excuses. But you roll up to Philadelphia with a team most people felt is coming out of the East. A lot of people felt was coming out of the East. Joel Embiid rolls out on the court, and you are still up 29. Trae Young still dropping 35.
And Embiid did his thing.
And Embiid did his thing, and you still lost. And you still beat them if you're the Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, Quavo, I brought him up earlier. This is why I forgot to say earlier. Quavo called the Atlanta Hawks the Splash Brothers East. Not me. I'm not that. That wasn't me. He said that.
It's a good one.
He said, man, we can shoot. And they most certainly can. And if the we are sitting here with the Philadelphia 76ers getting set for Game 2 in the Eastern Conference semifinals tonight. If the Philadelphia 76ers lose tonight, the Atlanta Hawks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
One dude who has done more for himself in these playoffs, I think, than anyone else is Trae Young.
Yeah.
Because he's good, he's Steph Curry light, but under pressure, he is fearless. And he's been as good as anybody. Like Trae Young's stock, he's a top 15, top 20 type player.
Yes.
By the time the smoke clears, it's going to be higher.
He's been putting on a show, like what he did in New York with the fans and how he handled everybody. It's like next level star power.
It's pizzazz.
He makes around him better. Everyone around him better.
Another point that I got to give Quavo some love for this too.
Quavo's getting a lot of love on this show. You know what I'm saying? He's earning it.
Yeah, because he earned it. Because he said what he said.
Yeah.
He's bringing up these points.
Yeah, that's good.
He said, yo, look at the best opponent for the Brooklyn Nets. He said, you're not stopping them. You got to have a chance to outshoot them. There's only one team that could do it. It's us. That's what he said.
I want Quavo in your seat. If you're not here,
it's a very
I think Quavo should fill in.
I'm just looking at him right now because Ben Simmons, we know he can't shoot. We know he can play, but he can't shoot. How much when you think about the Brooklyn Nets dropping 130 on you, how you going to compete with that if you can't shoot?
At least